This is the last question that I have prepared, and it's a very broad question. Uh, it's kind of a spicy one, but maybe you might be able to help. Uh,
Okay.
what steps can policymakers take to address the systemic challenges faced by HBCUs and to promote their long-term sustainability? Curveball question, but
And yeah, no, I was expecting a different direction than that as we sort of wrapped up. But that I think I don't think I have a satisfactory answer for that question. I wish I was better equipped to be able to give you the specifics of how that might look
mm-hmm.
in terms of like what specific policy steps could be taken. Because God knows, I mean, we can talk about again the and my knee jerk is to simply say, well, let's just show support. But what does support mean, right? How can we really sort of turn that into a tangible commitment? How can we really sort of demonstrate means by which we can like actually create change beyond just relying on, you know, whatever other means to sort of get information out there about these institutions? Because I mean, yeah, if you get people to know about these schools or whatever, that's nice. But how can you support the students when they get here? And how can you ensure that scaffolding and apparatus are in place to really sort of make sure that that education means something beyond just the fact that it affirms your sense of blackness, your sense of identity, and your sense of who you are holistically? I mean, yeah, that's nice. You can walk out of there with a great sense of, you know, I'm black and this is what that means. But if you're walking into a world where systems are in place that dehumanize everybody in some way, shape, or form, you know, I mean, you walk out with a degree, but you also walk out with, as we've stated, you know, massive amounts of debt or something like that. That creates another kind of paradigm where it's like, okay, well, I feel good about myself in one way, but I don't feel really good about myself in a whole bunch of other ways.
Right.
So, I, I, I again, I wonder. Well, I can say one thing. Well, I know we need space to be able to do our thing, right? So I think also about what's happening down in Florida, right? The way that you have people who are uh, passing laws that are designed to really sort of create problems for people who are just trying to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that's certainly problematic, to say the absolute least.
Right.
We can't have people actively seeking to undermine educational practices and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly a step in the wrong direction policy wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel so bad because this feels so anticlimactic in terms of our what has otherwise been a really awesome conversation. I've definitely enjoyed this, but I don't feel like I'm really in a space to offer you a really meaningful answer about how policies could be put in place to really sort of effectuate that kind of like systemic support or something like that. And I apologize for that, but
Don't apologize, and it's not anticlimactic. And I think for several reasons. One, it's very rare that you run into people who are willing to admit that they don't have a solid answer. And I'd much, much, much prefer that you say, hey, this is just not an area where I feel particularly confident. Rather than you just try your best to say something that doesn't actually make a bunch of sense, that doesn't actually work. And you know what I mean? And I think every time you mention something that you don't have a specific answer for, it gives everyone, myself, you, and everyone listening, the opportunity to say, huh, this is something we should look into. It
exactly.
highlights an area of something that can be researched, something that can be studied, that something that can be learned. Because oftentimes
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. And so in this
Hmm.
situation, here's something that I don't know, and now I don't know it, and so now I know this is something I can shore up. And so it's not anticlimactic. That we get to end with, I think everyone should research and figure out what policies can be made to like ensure the longevity of HBCUs and to help them. And then we get to do research up on doing so to figure out what previous presidents and previous like chambers of Congress have done to create longevity within the HBCUs. How have they supported them previously? And so then we can say we can repeat some of those things, because I would imagine there's been steps where people have made progress towards HBCUs and in places where they've been more regressive, you know? And so I think this is a great area of study now.
biglink.to.